The Fuller Center for Housing is an organization founded by Millard Fuller. He was formerly part of Habitat for Humanity. The Fuller Center is a nonprofit organization that seeks to eradicate poverty housing by promoting partnerships with individuals and community groups to build and rehabilitate homes for people in need. They have partners in more than 70 communities in the United States and 20 countries. The mission statement of the Fuller Center states, "The Fuller Center for Housing, faith-driven and Christian-centered, promotes collaborative and innovative partnerships with individuals and organizations in an unrelenting quest to provide adequate shelter for all people in need worldwide." The President Jimmy Carter Leadership Program spent spring break in Clarksdale, Mississippi. We were the first U.S. builders team in the Mississippi Delta and the first builders team in a year since the pandemic. While we were there, we renovated a four-bedroom, two-bath house. We taped, painted, fixed the sinks, the doors, everything like that. And we had an amazing contractor who helped us the whole week. And yeah, here are some pictures from what we did. As you just heard, over spring break, myself and a few other members of the Jimmy Carter Leadership Program got the opportunity to help the Fuller Center in Clarksdale, Mississippi. During this time, we got to see the city of Clarksdale and most of Coahoma County, which is where Clarksdale is located. The city welcomed us with a small town feel, and the people invited us into their community with a warm welcome and no hesitation. Clarksdale was founded in 1848 by John Clark, a native of England that fell in love with the Delta region and purchased 101 acres of land in what is now the city of Clarksdale. These far left pictures, the top left is just a cool mural that I enjoyed seeing every time we went to downtown Clarksdale. And the one below it is the Sunflower River, which is the river that Clarksdale is located along. To the right of that is a picture of our whole group in the Tourism Center in Clarksdale. And on the far right is a picture of Isabel, myself, Adam, and Brandolyn outside of the Wingstop in downtown Clarksdale. This city, like I said, is located along the Sunflower River and has a population of 15,734 residents. You will hear more later about the history of music in Clarksdale, but I'll go ahead and say that it is known for being home of the blues. These are some more pictures just from downtown Clarksdale. The far left is just to kind of show you what it looked like for the most part, real small town-like. In the middle is a rock and blues mural that I thought was cool, and on the far right is when we were in Friars Point and got to see the Mississippi River. These last three images, the far left is the Crossroads, and like I said, Clarksdale is home of the blues and is historically rich, and one large piece of that history that is pretty popular is the Crossroads. It is said that Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil in order to become a better musician. You'll hear more about that later as well. And if you've seen the movie Crossroads, it's about Clarksdale. Although Clarksdale has some cool history, there's also a dark history of racial and social injustices. In 1873, Coahoma County elected their first African-American sheriff, Mr. John Milton Brown. James Alcorn, who on the far right, the third picture on this slide, there's a monument there to commemorate him in a way. James Alcorn was a leading figure in getting African Americans to vote after the Civil War, and he earned the respect of many people throughout the state of Mississippi as they elected him governor and later a U.S. senator. However, Alcorn dramatically changed his political views after the election of Sheriff John Brown. Alcorn accused the sheriff of stealing nearly $5,000, which in that time was a lot of money. I mean, it's a good sum of money now, but back then it was a lot more. He accused him of stealing $5,000 from the people of Coahoma County and announced that John Milton Brown planned to steal more. Although there was no evidence of this and there was nothing to back it up, the people believed it, and there was also no evidence of the next allegation, which was that the African American population of Coahoma County was heavily armed and planned to massacre the white population. There are still injustices that occur in this city, and organizations that we met with, such as Spring Initiative and GRIO, are there to help, both of which you will hear about next.
Okay, so Spring Initiative is a group that we met with while we were in Clarksdale, Mississippi. They're basically just a group that helps kids that grew up dealing with discrimination, racism, and poverty in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Spring Initiative's mission is to empower young people in the Mississippi Delta to beat the odds, access the opportunities that they deserve, and build successful, happy, and hopeful lives for themselves. Some of their goals are to be successful in school, foster stability and strong relational skills, invest healthy lifestyles, and pursue successful college educations. While we were there, we met with some people that are over Spring Initiative. So we met with Veronica and Sarah Sterling, and they basically just talked to us about the things that they do to help these kids, how they connect with the kids on a personal level, how many kids they enter into the program each year, and like the grade levels that they accept and stuff like that. And for more information, you can go to this website, which is www.springinitiative.org. And on the left, you have a picture of us with Veronica and Sarah, the people that came to talk to us about Spring. And then on the right, that's a picture of some of the kids from Spring's website. The next one is GRIO, and this was an organization founded by Callie Nolan. And GRIO is basically the same thing as Spring, but they take a different perspective on it. So they teach the kids through arts. GRIO's mission is to empower young people in the Clarksdale, Mississippi to create positive change in their lives and community by providing access to the opportunities in the arts, education, and workforce development. So some of the things they do for the kids, they pray with the kids, they create pathways to college careers, they prepare the kids for lifelong relationships with Christ, and connect with the kids through arts. So while we were there, the picture on the left right here shows one of the art rooms that they had, and this was basically the music room. So they had guitars, pianos, drums. They had a bunch of just different instruments that they used to teach the kids. They have teachers that go and teach the kids how to play the instruments, and they have more things like arts and painting and stuff like that. But this is just one of the rooms that they showed us while we were there. And on the right, that's a picture of some of the kids from GRIO. For more information, you can go to grioarts.org/about. We also met with Lily Matthews, which was a veteran homeowner, and Shaquita Carter, which is the new homeowner that we met while we were there. And we met with the executive director, Leonette Henderson, Meraki Coffee House director, Ben Lewis, and art director, Bella Dallas from GRIO. The next thing that I get to talk about is the Clarksdale Care Station, which is basically just a food pantry that they have in Clarksdale. So this food pantry gives out food to it's open to all Coahoma County residents, and you get to get 3 per car, but that was for Corona, but since right now they're just like open again, they give out, I think, 2 per person, so 2 full meals per person. And when we went, these are some pictures right here that show you what we did. So I think all of us got a chance to go. And when we went, we basically just cut up like fruit for the boxes for the people that get the meals. And they were making like rice and all kind of different meals that they get every day. So yeah. And then their requirements are like you have to be on some kind of need from the government. So you have to be on food stamps, any kind of Social Security income. You have to be in public housing or apply for Medicare or Medicaid. So these are some things that you have to be in order to receive meals from this place. And if you're not on any of those, you fill out a form to show that you are living below the poverty line of that city or county.
Emmett Till was a young black boy at around 14 years old when he was falsely accused of talking back to a white woman. The white woman went on to go and tell his her husband and her friend that he had done so, and they went on to beat him up and lynch him, and he died from the lynching. The men who lynched him and killed him admitted to doing so, and they were not charged with any crimes at all. Years later, the woman who accused him came out and said that she had lied about the whole thing, and that just goes to show how this discrimination worked back then. Sumner is a small town in Tallahatchie County that is home to around 300 people. It is home to the very pivotal case of Emmett Till and how it impacted the whole country. The courthouse right here is where the case was held, and this is where the men were acquitted of any charges. Godey Institute by Patrick Weems he's someone who we met while we were visiting Sumner, and he is a community builder, a social entrepreneur, and who also co-founded the Sumner Youth Institute, which basically goes on to take young children and teach them about the history and helps them develop skills. He is also the director for the Emmett Till Interpretive Center, which goes to explain the story of Emmett Till with storytelling and pictures so that they can spread information easier that way and help them learn. And here's the website if you'll want to go, which is www.gotheinstitute. Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley National Park. At Mamie Till Mobley is Emmett Till's mother, and she dedicated her whole life to seeking justice for her son. The Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley National Park would like to commemorate the courthouse and other areas that were associated with Emmett Till, such as the river where he was found. When the men lynched him, they threw his dead body into a river. And weeks later, when the river dried up, his body was found on shore. So they would like to commemorate the area of the river, the courthouse, his home, and all other things that were associated with him, and put it under the national park jurisdiction. There is a petition on this website up here that would like to bring this important story under the national park. You can go there and sign it if you want. And here are some pictures of Sumner while we were there. Right here is the front picture of the courthouse, and down here is another picture of the courthouse. And something interesting about the courthouse is that it is preserved as it was in 1955. So that means everything in it looks exactly like it did in 1955. And up here we see a picture of how Sumner looked to us while we were there. And while we were there, Jay-Z and Will Smith had just finished shooting a short film that was about Emmett Till, which is really cool. And so the whole town looked like it did in 1955, so we got to see how it looked, and that was cool.
Okay, the Delta Blues were born in the Mississippi Delta area. There's rumor about the date, not many people know. One thing I found was that some of the white soldiers during the Civil War heard the difference of music from black soldiers, so they think maybe around the 60s, even earlier than that. But the sound is believed to have come from work chants, slave songs, and field hollers, which were it's like when slaves were on the fields, they would sing songs to either give directions to workers that behind them or to talk about the Underground Railroad in secret. By the 1890s, the blues had begun to be heard beyond the work camps or plantations, and the blues became the basis of mainstream music for the majority of the 20th century. And right here is just one of the pictures we took just throughout the Clarksdale area and Mississippi in general. There are just a lot of pictures representing the blues and kind of like the soul of the music there. Juke joints, these were makeshift buildings and clubs. This picture right here is Wade Walton's barbershop, which also was a juke joint or a blues club at night, and it was opened in 1972. The purpose of these juke joints were to spread and develop the blues, and many lyrics and sounds were borrowed from different bluesmen as they came through to hear it and kind of change their sound towards kind of what they like. And so the blues wasn't just like one basic sound, but a variety of sounds. And then many young bluesmen found mentors and left home for a life on the road. Eddie's son House, he was born in Kahoma County, which is the county we were in, and he was born in 1902. He was actually a mentor. He mentored a lot of young bluesmen, most famously Robert Johnson. And then he is known as the father of the blues because of his mentorship role. And his most famous songs are Preaching the Blues and Dry Spell Blues, which are really great songs if you want to hear them. And then he's most famous for his bottle slide technique, which would be you would take your guitar and slide a sharp object on it, bottleneck, rock, guitar pick, just anything. And then this is one of the pictures that were in Clarksdale. You just see him on the sidewalk, and you just that was by the Cat Head, which is like an antique shop. And it just gives like a little rundown of his life and kind of some of the notable things he did. And then this right here is Robert L. Johnson. He was born in Hazelhurst, Mississippi in 1911, and he ran away from home as a teenager to learn from Son House, who I said was the father of the blues. He's most famous for his legend of selling soul to the devil, and we got to see the crossroads where it's rumored he sold his soul between Highway 49 and 61. But Mr. Ben, who they talked about earlier, he told me that during that time, a lot of people in the church said that if you played the blues, you kind of already sold your soul to the devil. So there's truth behind it, but there's no way of actually knowing. And then his most famous songs are Crossroads, Love in Vain, and Hell Hell on My Trail. And he's the first member of the 27 Club, which is a club of musicians who died at the age of 27, kind of in their prime. So he was the first member of that club who started that. So, and then right here, Sam Cooke. He is my favorite bluesman. He was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi in 1931, and he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He also won 4 Grammys in 1998, 1999, 2000, and 2004. And then his most notable songs is A Change Is Gonna Come, You Send Me, and then What a Wonderful World.
Hey, everybody. All right. I'm talking about the impact of the blues in the Clarksdale area. First off, tourism. This is the B.B. King Museum, which we were lucky enough to be able to go to. It was a phenomenal experience. What's awesome about the tourism here is that blues is the main tourist factor of Clarksdale. So with that being said, it is also one of the biggest economic values for Clarksdale, which brings in a lot of money to them. It also sheds a lot of history and light onto the blues genre, which it really needs to have a lot of history for it, and it does have a lot of history, and it's a phenomenal museum, and we had such an incredible time at B.B. King's Museum. It was amazing. The experience of the blues. So as I was driving, I went to the care station, and as I was driving back with Mr. Bill, he was telling me about all the different clubs that are in Clarksdale. There's a lot. There's every single corner street. There's a whole bunch, and that they're open 24/7. They are open 24/7 for everybody to go and enjoy. They are absolutely phenomenal, and there's always people in there, and there's all types of people. It is phenomenal. And the bottom right, my favorite thing, that's the man himself, Morgan Freeman, playing at the club. That is pretty cool. That just shows how important these clubs are, Morgan Freeman coming out and playing. Yeah, so there's every single type of person, every single walk of life in these clubs, and it makes everybody so happy. And blues is actually a huge part of the Clarksdale area. All right, the blues festivals. The one here on the left is called the Juke Joint Festival. It is the largest festival in Clarksdale. It has over 10 stages, and all the clubs that are in Clarksdale have members of the festival playing in them. So that means over about 20 venues for music to go to. They have hundreds and hundreds of people show up. It is absolutely awesome. Mr. Ben was telling me about it. There's a whole bunch of food and drinks, people laughing, people joking. It is a great time. And the one on the right here is called the Sunflower River Blues and Gospel Festival. It is the internationally known blues festival. People from all over the world come to Clarksdale just to see this festival. As you can tell, that's quite a big stage and quite a lot of people there. This is their 30th year of doing the Sunflower and Blues Gospel Festival. And last year, because of everything that happened with COVID-19, it was the first year they had to stop the Blues Festival, sadly. But they're picking it up again, and they're hoping for their biggest year yet. It is a fantastic festival, and I would love to attend one day. So the meaning of the blues for the Clarksdale people, it is everything to them. It's their livelihood. It's their entertainment. It's everything that they want in life. I was talking to Mr. Bill, and he said he goes to the clubs and everybody is just smiling. He says he never goes somewhere where he hasn't seen so many people smiling, and I just think that is the most beautiful thing. The blues have such a huge impact. Look at everybody smiling. They're all having a good time. It's fantastic, and I really loved the atmosphere of the blues there, and everybody smiling and singing. It was just, we would drive down the street and see people playing on their driveway, see them playing guitar, and it was beautiful. So yeah, thank you.